Hi students, welcome to online class. So today we are going to discuss about chapter 2, data abstraction. So last video we have discussed about chapter 1, functions. I think you might have revised all the topics. You have understood all the 5 marks and then each and every heading. So now we are going to discuss about chapter 2, right, data abstraction. So first of all, we discuss about data abstraction. What is mean by data abstraction? Before going for the definition, they are explaining about what is the data abstraction. It's a powerful concept in computer science that allows programmers to treat code as objects. So why they are saying it as a powerful concept? It is a very important concept in computer science. See, whenever you go with the programmers they used to create the program. All the programs are the executable programs. Whenever they create the program is used to get the input and then it is used to show the output. So each and every program we don't want to see line by line, don't want to go through line by line. So simply we want to know whether the program works or not. Simply the programmer want to know whether the program works or not. After creating the program, the programmer want to know whether the program is a executable program, whether the program is showing the output or not. So that is what they used to call it as data abstraction. So data abstraction is a powerful concept that allows programmers to treat code as objects. So each and every line we should consider as an object. For example, we can take car as an object, pencil as an object, people is also an object. Each and everything in the real life is called as an object. Whether it is a pen, pencil, chalk piece, eraser, whatever it may be, everything is considered as a object. So the programmers need not to worry about how the code is implemented. They just have to know what it does, whether it works or not. So that is called data abstraction. So the programmer need not to worry about each and every line in the program. The programmer want to know just whether the program is working or not. For example, now we are going for the next page. You can see this is especially important when several people are doing a project. Project here refers to the programming. So each and every people in programming, they want to know whether the program works or not. After they used to create the program, whether the program works or not. Simply you consider the students, what they are doing in the lab. The students, you are entering into the lab. After that just you are opening a book and then you are typing some programs and then you are checking whether the program works or not. So that is what here they are saying. The data abstraction is a concept which is used to check whether the program works or not. It does not know how. It is no need to bother about the how the program is implemented. See here, with data abstraction, your group members won't have to read through every line of your code to understand. For example, you take an IT company. In an IT company, there will be a lot of programmers will be there, right? They used to call it as coding team. coding team. So that particular team is used to create the coding. They used to create the program. Each and every person, they will not see each and every line of the program, because the program will be a very big size. It may be a 1,000 line program, or else more than 5,000 line program. So it will not be a short program. It will not contain 10 lines of program, what you are studying in the 12th standard or 11th standard. It will not be like that. It will be more than 100 lines or 1,000 lines or 2,000 lines. So they can't go line by line. Instead of that, the group members, that is each and every programmer, they used to check whether the program works or not. So they can just assume that it does work, whether the program is working. So that is what they used to call it as data abstraction. See here, abstraction provides modularity. So 11th standard itself we have studied in C++. What does mean by modularity? Modularity means splitting the program into many modules. Instead of giving a big work to one person, you split the same work and then you give to the one or more persons. So like that, the abstraction provides splitting of a big program into a smaller one. So that is what here they are saying. Abstraction provides modularity. Right? Then we want to know about another concept, classes. Classes here is otherwise called as the structures. They are the representation of abstract data types. They are the representation of abstract data types. What is mean by ADT? So that is what we are going to discuss in the next. So abstract data types, it's a type of class. What they are saying, abstract data type means it's a type of class for objects whose behavior is defined by a set of value and set of operations. So here we are going to discuss about what is mean by ADT. It is like a class. What is mean by class? Last year itself we have studied. The class contains a data member and member functions. So the same thing here also we are going to discuss. Abstract data type is also a type of class. It is defined by a set of value and a set of operations. So some values will be defined as well as some operations will be defined in the abstract data type. See here they are given another definition. The definition of ADT only mentions what operations are to be performed, but not how these operations will be implemented. So what they are conveying now, ADT means it is used to say what are all the operations we want to do. For example, what are all the operations? What are the some arithmetical operations you take? Addition, subtractions, multiplication, division. So these are the operations that to be performed, but how these operations are done, that is not defined by ADT. So ADT means it can specify what are all the operations to be performed, but it will not specify how the operations are implemented. Implemented here means executed. Right? So this is the definition of ADT. Can you understand, students? Right. Now we can see the same thing again. You see here ADT. It does not specify how data will be organized in the memory. Here what they are saying, so they are trying to convey that how the data is stored in the memory, that is not specified. How the data is organized. Organized means here how the data is stored in the memory, that is not specified here. But what algorithms will be implemented, will be used for implementing the operations, that will be specified. So we does not know how the data is stored in the memory, but what are all the algorithms we can use for storing the data? What are all the algorithms we can use for storing the data? That can be specified in the ADT, right? So that is what they used to call it as abstract. Abstract means you are not going to give a lengthy story, like a short story, like an introduction. That particular introduction contains all the information about the whole story. So that is what in computer they used to call it in a technical word, abstract. Abstract means the whole content is given in a single paragraph or single line, like that. See here, it is called as abstract because it gives an implementation and independent view, right? The process of providing only the essentials and hiding the details is known as abstractions. So only the essential detail will be specified. Unessential details are not specified here. So we are going to hide some details. So this particular concept is called abstraction, right? So now we are going to see here. You can see that these definitions do not specify how the ADTs will be represented and how the operations will be carried out. So we does not know how the operations are carried out, but we know what are all the operations will be carried out. We know that addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, these operations will be carried out. But how the addition is done, we don't know. How the subtraction is done, we don't know. So that is what here they are saying. Do not specify how these ADTs will be represented, how the abstract data type will be represented, and at the same time we does not know how the operations are carried out. So there are different ways to implement an ADT. So abstract data type, we have two things. One is called list ADT and then another one is called stack ADT. So stack ADT, list ADT, here we are not going to discuss in a detailed manner. In your book it is not given in a detailed manner, but I try to say in one or two lines. List ADT means the data will be stored in a continuous manner. So it will be stored in a list manner. Stack means it will be like a shelf. The data will be stored one after the another. So first the data will be stored at the bottom. So the second data will be stored above that. So that is called stack ADT. Queue ADT, we can know. Queue means one by one the data will be retrieved. So like that we can say. So these things they have not yet explained in your book in a detailed manner because it is a very lengthier syllabus. So we also no need to discuss in a detailed manner. Right. These are some of the examples. List ADT and then stack ADT and then queue ADT. These can be implemented using a list. Right. Data abstraction replicate how we think about the world. So we are thinking about the world. How we are thinking? The world is like this. The world contains a lot of problems. The world contains a lot of things. Yes, but we are trying to think that all the people are like ourselves. Whether all the people are like ourselves? No. All the peoples are different. Some of them are rich, some of them are poor, and then some of them are cunning, some of them are broad-minded. So like that, we can say the data abstraction replicate how we think about the world. So it is replicating, it is copying. Right? So simple example they have given. For example, when you want to drive a car, what did you think? Whether you are thinking about the tire, how the tire is made up of, what are all the materials which are used to make a tire, whether you are thinking about the engine, how the engine was made, what are all the parts inside the engine. If you go and ask a driver, the particular driver does not know anything about the car. He simply know how to drive the car, how to turn the steering, and then how to drive the car. Like that only he know. And then some of the things he may know. what are all the rules that should be followed while driving a car. But most of the drivers, they don't know what are all the parts which are involved in the car, what are all the things which is used to run the particular car, right? So the same thing we can say for an example for data abstraction. For example, when you want to drive a car, you don't need to know how the engine was built. Whether you are thinking about the engine, whether you are whenever you are driving a car, you are opening the car and then seeing the engine. Oh, this is engine. How this was built? What are all the parts involved in this? Whether you are seeing like that? No, nobody does not see about those things. What we are doing? Just we are entering into the car and then just handling the steering and then gear and then clutch. So like that we are using those things, brake. So you just have to know how to turn the wheel and press the gas pedal, right? We does not know, no need to know about the tires and then engine like that. So this is called data abstraction, right? This data abstraction creates two types of functions. What are they means? One is called constructor and another one is called selector. So to facilitate, to implement data abstraction, we need two types of functions. What are they? One is called constructor and another one is called selector. So these things we can discuss in the next video. So I think you might have understood this. So let's end the class. So thank you, students.